Okay, this lecture will cover pockets, the pocket details, and major pocket styles. Basically, a pocket is a small pouch or a bag that is sewn into or onto a garment and used to carry things in. Pockets can be functional and decorative. If you've got a pocket on a garment that doesn't open, it's usually called a faux pocket and is simply decorative. The major things that will contribute to the cost of a garment is adding a pocket onto it, because it's going to take more time, fabric, equipment, labor, and technique. And if you look at this girl's pocket here, this is an applied patch pocket. It has piping trim around the edge, so that is an additional technique that's going to take more labor and time and will increase the cost. The pocket bag is essentially the pouch of the fabric that hangs on the inside of the garment. Obviously, if there's a pocket bag on the inside, the pocket is intended to be functional. Most sample pockets will be made out of muslin and then in the fashion fabric. Pocket ends also need to be double stitched for reinforcement. So if you look at the openings of your pocket ends, they'll most always be double stitched with bar tacks. The major categories of pockets are applied patch. The second category is inseam, and the subcategories of that are concealed inseam or exposed inseam. And last, we have the slash welt, and the three types within that category are single welt, double welt, and the upturned flap. Applied pockets, also called patch pockets, tend to look more casual than other pocket types. And applied pockets are usually made from the same fashion fabric of the body of the garment, and can be cut into a variety of sizes and shapes. When using an applied pocket, usually a pocket press is used to evenly press under the sides and stitch around the given template. Applied pocket opening edges need to be reinforced. Like I said earlier, you'll always find bar tacks or double stitching on the open edges of pockets. The easiest patch pocket to apply is a squared pocket, and this is going to be the kind that you find on the back of denim jeans. And the round pockets are going to be harder to make, and those usually consist of, gathering or some type of pleating detail. So when we're talking about an applied pocket, the pocket bag is the part that's sewn onto the fashion side of the fabric, because the pocket is the bag itself when you've got an applied pocket. But within the other ones, you have your pocket opening, and then the pocket bag is on the inside of the garment. The next category is your inseam pockets, and these occur at a structural seam. The most common place you'll find your inseam pockets is on the side seam. So it goes from the side seam up to the waistband, or stays in the side seam. So when you've got a concealed inseam pocket, that's where it stays on the side seam. And the exposed is where it starts on the side seam and then goes up to the waistband. The concealed inseam pocket, they're formed when the opening of the side seams are abutted right up next to each other. So you can see in this example here, here's the opening, and the pocket goes from side seam to side seam. So your exposed inseam pockets are set into the waistline and the side seam of a garment. So it starts down here in the side seam and then is opened all the way up to the waistband. Here's another example. This one's a little bit tricky, because if you've got a concealed, it would start in the side seam and then end in the side seam. But this one is just a sliver open, making it an exposed inseam pocket, because it goes from the side to the waistband seam, and there's that opening right here. Again, categories of pockets are applied patch, inseam concealed, inseam exposed, and slash welt, variations, single welt, double welt, and an upturned flap. The last category is the slash or welt. The French term for this type of pocket is called a besom. And this is when the opening is cut right into the body of the garment and the raw edges are finished with either some type of binding or some type of facing. This is the most complex and the most difficult type of pocket to construct. The variations again are single welt, double welt, and upturned flap. Here is an example of your single welt. The slash is bound with a single fabric strip, also called a lip, and this would be like a really nice, flat, smooth surface on the back of some dress slacks. This example right here. It could also be seen on the front of a blazer, or maybe an inside pocket or inside a purse. The next type is the slash welt pocket, and this is the double lip slash welt pocket, excuse me. And this is where it has two lips, one coming down from the top and one coming up from the bottom. Here's an example of this on some corduroys, and you can see up close. Here's one from the top and one from the bottom. These are really thin lips, thin strips, and they come in lots of different variations also. Sometimes you'll see them with a loop and a button to help keep it closed and lay flat. The last type of slash is an upturned flap, and this is where you cut the slash right here, sew the flap on, and then stitch down the sides. You see this most commonly in men's jackets, where they're going to have I can never remember this word, pocket tissue, pocket something. It'll come to me later. Some pockets also have flaps that cover the openings, and you can basically have a flap on any type of pocket except for, no, you could have a flap on an inseam pocket. But here's an example of an applied patch pocket with a flap and then a snap closure. And this one is the slash welt pocket with a downturned flap.